Josh, I tell you what, before we came on the air, you were telling a great story of a coffee shop that you went to with your family today, and it reminded me so much of a very similar place here in town called Dutch Brothers. And if you're in Arizona or California, you know about Dutch Brothers. And, if you've ever been, and Josh, what was the name of the place you went to? It was like 150 Coffee or something?
151 Coffee.
151 Coffee, yeah. And, share the experience of how it was for you today.
Yeah, this is the fun part is my wife and I have been hearing from our friends in the area since we moved back, like, hey, you got to go to 151 Coffee. You got to go to 151 Coffee. It's the coolest kind of pull-up coffee spot. You have to go there. Their coffee is great. And so finally, we were going around. We went to an aviation museum with the little kids today and had some fun there. And then we were like, hey, let's go get some coffee this afternoon. So we went to 151 Coffee. We drove through. We had never been there. There's a line wrapping around the building, and we had no idea where it actually started. So we just kind of creeped up and came in. What we found out was the wrong entrance to the line. And one of the guys out there with his iPad, he waves us in immediately. He gets us in line. He goes and talks to the car behind us and says, hey, is it cool if they pop in here real quick? They had no problem with it. And he came running over to us and he was like, hey, what's going on? You guys got a full car. What can I get you today? And we ordered 3 coffees, about $15 or so of iced coffees. And he was like, hey, you know what? I haven't seen you guys here before. This is on me. It's Friday. Let's have a good day. And so, I mean, of course, like, wow, that's a really good start to this place. Like, they're giving us free coffee, and that guy was really nice. And then we pull up to this coffee shop, and at the window, they've got music blaring, like music just bumping in this place. And there's 4 people really, really busy inside. And all of them just turn to us and they're like, hey, what's up? Everybody's having a good time, and they give us our coffee. And of course the coffee was delicious. And I'm like super amped up right now because I've had probably way too much coffee. Anyway, the point is that the experience was awesome. Like, if I'm out and about on the weekends or during the week, like, I don't think I'm going to go anywhere else besides there after just having that one experience. And so it's really important for us to think about, what is that experience like for us in our clinics and our practices? And are we leaving people wanting more?
Question for you, Josh. If the coffee was just good, not incredible, but just good, would you still have that same attitude about it?
I'd still be back.
Yeah. Because it's not just about this, it's not just about the actual product. It's about the experience that you had, and it's about the environment and the culture that they created. And oh, by the way, they have good coffee.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's where, like, so many of us are like, well, I'm such and such certified, and I'm like, I have all these credentials and I have all these things, and all we're doing is talking about how good our coffee is, but we've done nothing to actually create a culture that makes people want to come back.
Dude, that's so on like, for example, there, with that story that I just told, what do you think is going to be the main point of that story that I'm going to tell most people around town?
I think I know the excitement of the crew, how much they loved working there. They exuded that passion, and it was infectious for you. Selling is a transfer of energy, and they created a lot of energy in that place, and it makes you want to come back.
Yeah, and how generous the manager was too. I didn't even know it was the manager at the time, but how generous he was. I mean, we even went in the wrong part of the line, and he ends up giving us free coffee because he's never seen our face before. Like, it really made me wonder. I was like, so many people, like, I know that we want to value our services, but at the same time, like, that went a long way for me. He'd never seen our face. So he was like, hey, it's Friday. We're going into the weekend. This is on me today. And so again, all he's doing, what I saw from that is he's just finding ways to serve people on a daily basis, and he's creating customers, and they just opened up their 3rd location. And I turned to my family because I'm the only business person in it. And I was like, there's a reason why they're expanding during COVID right now, and most other businesses aren't. They have a business that's built for COVID because it's a drive-through. But secondly, I mean, they're expanding. Like, I'm seeing locations pop up around town all over the place with 151 Coffee. It has to have a lot to do with the energy that they bring and the experience that they provide.
Yeah, and the other the other side of that is we want to value our service. We want to value what we offer, but even, I mean, that manager knows the value of a happy customer, right? So he gives you $15 worth of coffee, which he could spend on Facebook ads to talk about 151 coffee. But where is his money best spent? Is it spent on giving you free coffee and creating a lifelong customer, or spending $15 on Facebook ads that has a very sterile interaction with people? So now all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, we should be spending some sort of resources on marketing, advertising, relationship building, whatever that looks like. But I think so many people get distracted by, like, I need to do paid advertising and it looks like Facebook and Google. I know that this isn't really the topic that we're talking about, but it's just what's on my mind. I want to spend money on Facebook and Google, but then as soon as somebody asks for a free t-shirt, they're like, oh, we don't do that. Like, you're spending so much money on Facebook and Google, but you're not spending any money on keeping people happy. And happy customers talk about you, as opposed to having to go find new clients all the time by spending money on Facebook and Google. So, like, I'd rather have like, we do Facebook ads, to some degree, but a lot of my budget gets spent on building relationships with people. And I would much rather, even down to the, like, I buy gym memberships for my employees because I know that that's where they're going to go build relationships with people.